What's the stupidest reason someone has ever tried to sue you for? My neighbor sued me for $15,000 because he claimed I trained 3 squirrels to be home invaders. I was standing in court while his lawyer held up a poster board covered in squirrel photos with the words "proof of rodent criminal activity" written in black marker. The lawyer told the judge I had turned innocent backyard squirrels into a gang trained to break into houses and steal food from kitchens. My neighbor got on the stand dramatically, saying he couldn't sleep because my squirrel crime syndicate was casing his property and planning coordinated attacks on his bird feeders. His lawyer showed the judge 43 pictures of squirrels eating with labels like "suspects gathering intel" and "preparing for heist operations" written on them in red pen. This ridiculous mess started 6 months ago when I was going through a rough patch. I started sitting on my back porch every morning, drinking coffee and watching these 3 squirrels in my yard. I began leaving them peanuts because, honestly, they were more entertaining than anything on TV. I looked up proper squirrel nutrition online and bought actual wildlife food that cost $12 a bag. I named the biggest one General Fluffytail because he was clearly the leader and would chase other animals away from the food. There was another one I called Professor Nutkin because he'd carefully examine each peanut before eating it like he was conducting research. The smallest one I named Bandit because she had this black mask pattern around her eyes and would steal food from the others when they weren't looking. Everything was completely normal until my neighbor was gardening and saw the squirrels line up when I brought food, which is literally what all animals do when they expect meals. He stopped watering his flowers and started filming me on his phone while narrating like a nature documentary. I am documenting criminal animal training in progress. This man is clearly running an illegal wildlife operation. The next morning, he brought his wife and 2 other neighbors to witness the evidence. When Professor Nutkin climbed down from a tree toward me, his wife gasped, "They respond to his signals. This is animal mind control." They formed an emergency squirrel watch committee and took hundreds of photos every day while wearing baseball caps pulled low like undercover agents. They brought notebooks to document what they called rodent reconnaissance missions, which was literally just squirrels running around looking for acorns. They called animal control 5 times, claiming I was weaponizing urban wildlife. The officer asked them if they understood what squirrels were and whether they'd considered moving somewhere without trees. When that failed, they hired a lawyer who sent me a cease and desist letter claiming I was operating a squirrel mafia that posed an imminent threat to neighborhood security. The letter included a paragraph about how General Fluffytail specifically was conducting surveillance operations, which meant he sat on a fence post. It accused Bandit of theft because she once took a fallen apple from their yard. They even claimed Professor Nutkin's careful eating habits proved he was testing food for poison, making him my official taster. When I defended myself in court, I showed the judge security footage proving these squirrels lived here before I moved in. The footage showed them following anyone with food, including a little girl with crackers and an elderly man who dropped his sandwich. I played video of me walking past empty-handed while General Fluffytail completely ignored me and continued burying acorns. The animal control officer testified that Bandit once chased a mailman for 2 blocks because he had trail mix in his pocket. I also showed the judge my neighbor's own Facebook post from 2 years ago, where he'd shared 8 videos of these exact squirrels with captions like "Nature is beautiful" and "Backyard wildlife therapy." The judge asked my neighbor to explain how squirrels that follow anyone with food could be trained criminals, and he couldn't answer without using the word "conspiracy" 12 times. The courtroom burst into laughter when my neighbor's wife pointed at a photo of Professor Nutkin sleeping and yelled, "Look at those calculating eyes." The judge dismissed the case and ordered my neighbor to pay court costs, saying, "If this man has assassin squirrels, then my hamster is planning international espionage."